911, what's your emergency?
Hi, yes, I'm a cleaner. I just arrived at a client's apartment and I think he's not moving.
Okay, ma'am, take a breath. What's the address?
It's the penthouse, Octagon Plaza. I have a key. I let myself in. He's on the floor in the living room.
Is he conscious at all? Breathing?
No, I don't think so. I tried calling his name. He's cold.
All right, don't touch anything else. Are you alone in the apartment?
Yes, I'm alone.
Officers and paramedics are on the way. Please don't go back inside.
Okay.
Stay on the line with me.
Okay, please hurry.
Welcome to Be the Detective, the immersive spin-off from The Evidence Trail. In this series, the roles are reversed. Instead of hearing the conclusions, you'll step into the investigation itself. Each episode invites you to follow the case as it unfolds, listening carefully, gathering details, and piecing together the truth from the clues left behind. These stories are inspired by my own experiences as a crime scene investigator, but there's a twist. The cases you'll hear take place in a time before forensic science became the cornerstone of modern investigations. As you follow these cases, you'll have that modern knowledge at your disposal, highlighting just how vital forensic science has become in solving crimes. While you listen, you can make notes, track the evidence, and form your own theories, or simply follow along in your head. You can play alone or work together with friends, comparing conclusions and challenging each other's instincts. The question is simple. Can you gather the clues, connect the dots, and solve the case before the truth is revealed? It's time to step into the scene. It's time to be the detective. Hi everyone, and welcome to case number 1 of Be the Detective. As I've said, it's the spin-off show from The Evidence Trail. In this, you get to listen to a case file and determine whether or not you can solve it, basically using forensic science. The details of this case I'll mention to you now. So if you're playing along at home and you've got a pen and paper at your disposal, then you just might want to make a few notes here. So the call has come in from the maid who works for the deceased. The deceased at the moment we know is called Frank, and he resides at the penthouse Octagon Plaza. So he is right at the top floor. He's done well in life to afford such a place. The cleaner has found him at 8 o'clock in the morning. She comes in every couple of weeks, and she's walked in today and sadly found him passed away on the floor. Frank, we know, is 76 years old. His occupation, he's now retired, but he's a factory manager and he is a widow, so he resides at the property alone. So no one else should have access to the property other than the cleaner. And that's all the information we know at the moment. And of course, in a real investigation, you could be sent out to a scene much like this and you would have very little information. So you would just have to kind of make a start and crack on, and slowly the case would unfold whilst you're there doing your forensic investigation. So I'm going to play a little bit more for you. I'm going to allow my detective colleague to walk you around the scene. Just visualize what you can kind of picture and imagine it's like there, and make any notes, any key findings that the detective sort of points out, anything that you might want to work your forensic magic on. Perhaps there's a surface that might need fingerprinting or something for DNA, something that this case back then wouldn't have been able to have at its disposal that you do now. So listen along and see what you think.
You made it. Long way up. Hope the elevator didn't stall. This building's got a habit of holding on to things. Name's been going around. You're the new detective in town, the one with a taste for science. Fine by me. You crack this, maybe I'll start believing in it. Nice hallway, huh? That chandelier alone could buy a man a second chance. This way. The penthouse, hear that? Nothing. That's what money sounds like this high up. See the uniform by the door? Been stood there since the call came in. Swears nobody's gone in or out. Door was locked when the maid found it. No splinters, no scratches. Just good, honest oak keeping its secrets. And that cupboard next to the front door, that's for the trash bins. Even the garbage gets its own home. All right, inside. Easy now, don't go stirring things up. Air's still got a memory, cologne mostly, but there's something underneath it that don't sit right. Living room opens wide. Look at that view. Whole city laid out like a confession that nobody's ready to sign. Plenty of secrets down there. But tonight we've got one upstairs. There, flat on his back, like gravity finally got the last word. Mid-70s, dressed like he had somewhere better to be. Suit like that doesn't come off a rack. No blood, no injuries, looks at peace. Pills by his hand, spilled across the expensive carpet, and the note next to him. Yeah, I see it. Leave it. Paper's patient. Couch over there, looks disturbed. Cushions scattered like someone was hunting for something they couldn't afford to lose. Loose picture on the floor. Pretty dame. Wait, there's writing on the back. My darling Veronica, could be a relation. Hold it a second. See that? By the leg of the table. Cigarette, half smoked, burned down slow and left to die where it fell. Not crushed out, not cleaned up, just forgotten. Windows open. Feel that? Wind's got teeth this high up. Nobody's climbing in without a ladder or a last wish. Still, windows don't open themselves. So, locked room, no forced entry. One stiff, a handful of pills, and a note that's keeping quiet. For now. My gut says the man was ready to write his own ending. But I've been wrong before. What's your read? Here's what matters. The kind of question that sticks to your ribs. Did he check out on his own? Or did somebody help him keep the appointment?
Okay, there you have it. At any point in this podcast, feel free to rewind it, to review the evidence, and make notes, double check your notes if you like. I'm not going to give you too many hints at the moment, but of course my detective colleague, he mentioned that there was no forced entry and the door was locked when the cleaner came in. So how did the person get in there if this is a murder? Have a think about what he said, potential ways in there, and perhaps how you would go about proving that someone has, say, entered in through a particular method. Any kind of clues behind that someone may have left, or do you think this is just a case of someone has taken their own life? I'll leave it up to you to make your notes and decide. But of course, we've got this burning query at the moment, haven't we? We've got a letter on the floor, a note that's been left behind. So I think it's only about time that we had a read of that. So let's see what stones this may unturn.
To whoever finds this, it is with regret you find me this way, but I cannot continue. Money has bought me lots of things, but it can't buy me happiness. Life has been difficult since the passing of my wife, my sweetheart Veronica. But now, we'll walk hand in hand once again. Yours faithfully, Frank.
Okay, so that was a note from Frank. What do we make of that? It obviously gives us motive as to why he may have taken his own life. Did you notice any discrepancies in the letter? Anything that doesn't quite add up? Maybe that you need to review the first walkthrough of the scene, perhaps, just to kind of get a better feel of the scene and whether or not that's the kind of language that Frank might use. Maybe there's a little hint in there for you. So what do we make? Is there anything that you would want to do now? Anyone you want to interview a bit more? Of course, we've had a witness and someone that visits Frank every now and then, the cleaner. So I think it's about time we interviewed the cleaner, see what she has to say.
I was just doing my rounds. Penthouse gets cleaned twice a week, same as always. Mr. Hallberg liked things just so, said dust had a way of telling on people. When I got to the door, it was locked. That wasn't strange, not up here. But he didn't answer when I knocked. Not the first time, not the second. I thought maybe he'd gone out, so I used the service key. The moment I stepped in, I knew something was wrong. I called out, just to be polite, you understand. But then I saw him. He was lying on the floor, staring up at nothing. I thought maybe he'd fainted, so I took a step closer. But something about the way he was lying. People don't rest like that. There were pills scattered near his hand. I remember thinking how strange it was. He hadn't mentioned he was on medication. I didn't touch anything. I swear I didn't. The window, it was open. The curtains kept moving in the wind. I got frightened then, ran back to the door and called for help. I don't know what happened to him. I just cleaned the place. I don't ask questions. He was such a nicely mannered man. It's so sad.
Okay, that's our witness account from the cleaner. That's the information that she's given us at the moment. We've also learnt his surname, Mr. Halberg. So Frank Halberg's his name. But what else did we gain from that? She said that he wasn't on medication that she was aware of, but of course the cleaners aren't going to be aware of everything that their clients go through. So it may be that we just take that with a pinch of salt. It would kind of be foolish to think, oh, this is definitely a murder if the cleaner says that he wasn't on medication. So just because you gain a bit of evidence, you've really got to study that evidence and think, is this enough to spin this case on its head? Okay, so how are you doing with your notes so far? If you're doing all right, then I've got a twist for you here. So this is going to change everything for you. Listen to this.
Then the phone rings. Halberg's lawyer says the old man had plans today, was cutting his grandson out of the will. Clean and final. That's the kind of news that makes a man inconvenient overnight.
So, Mr. Halberg, Frank Halberg, that very day, that very morning, was due to take someone out of his will. Now that's a bit suspicious, isn't it? He's just all of a sudden ended up dead on the floor. However, he was due for an appointment to take someone out of the will. That's motive, isn't it, for murder, wouldn't you say? I think we best have the person in custody who was getting taken out of the will. We'll just need to ask him a few questions, see what he says. Let's have a listen.
All right. You want to hear it straight? Fine. I wasn't hiding, see? I just didn't think I had anything to say. Family's family. We talked sometimes. Argued more than that. He had a way of making you feel small. Like you were already written out of the story. And yeah, I knew he was erasing my chapter, but life goes on, right? Last time I saw him, a couple months back, the old man got drunk, kicked me out. Haven't spoken since. Last night, I wasn't anywhere near that penthouse. Place gives me a headache. Too high up, too clean. Feels like you gotta apologize just for breathing in it. You're looking at me like I got something to hide. I don't. Not about this. Sounds like the old man made his own arrangements. Wouldn't surprise me. Man like control, right up to the end. But hey, what do I know? I'm just the grandson.
Okay, so that's the grandson there. He's obviously denying it. He didn't have any involvement. But was there anything that he said in his witness statement there that may contradict some of the evidence that we've got already? If you think back to the evidence that you've got within that scene that you've collected perhaps, the information that we've got from the cleaner, and now the information that we've got from our suspect, is there anything that we can gain from that may be a bit suspicious and help prove something? Have a good think. Now, maybe there is something that you found and collected at the scene. What about that cigarette end? Let's ask the maid about the cigarette.
Mr. Halberg didn't smoke, not ever. He used to complain about the smell, said it clung to the curtains, got into the walls, made me air the place out if anyone visiting so much as lit a match. So if you find cigarettes in there, they're not his.
So they're not his cigarettes. Does that mean that it is really suspicious if that cigarette has been left behind? I guess it depends who it comes back to, really. Now, you might want to pause this podcast right now, have a discussion if you're playing along with friends, and have a discussion and see what you come up with. Now, I'm going to let you in on the story, and then we're going to play the confession. So the story was, obviously we had Frank Halberg. He was deceased, found by the cleaner. She comes every 2 weeks. Now that's quite crucial that she comes every 2 weeks because we've got a bit of a time frame there. There was no forced entry into the property, but there were ways into the property. So how could someone get in? There was mention of this window, this open window. Could someone have climbed through that window? Well, we'd obviously have a good look around, wouldn't we, to see if that was feasible. and to see whether or not, there was any neighbouring balconies or anything like that. But that person would still have to go through, say, someone else's apartment. They'd have to break into that apartment, and that would be fairly obvious. But there was a service hatch next to the front door. Did anyone pick up on that service hatch? Basically, in a few buildings, and I've had this at a case before, where you've got a locked door, but next to that front door in this apartment block is a little cupboard. And this cupboard has like Jack and Jill doors, two-way doors, that you can open from your own hallway within inside your apartment, put the bin into the cupboard, and then on the other side, people come and collect it from the communal area and they don't have to go into your flat. But if you leave both of these doors unlocked, it acts as a little kind of like tunnel which you can climb through. And you can bypass the front door this way. If you'd picked up on that, then well done, because that is how our person climbed through that door. And of course, there's valuable forensic evidence that they can leave there. They can leave some pulling in kind of fingerprints, some climbing in marks, which if you're just there and you're just kind of staying there legitimately, you're not really going to leave these kind of climbing in marks. So that's fairly crucial. You may have noticed about the cigarette end. Now that was obviously quite key, because if you've collected that for DNA, you've come back and got a DNA hit on the grandson. Well done you. But of course, surely the grandson has been there before. He's been there prior. We mentioned in his statement that he hadn't been there for a month or two, whereas the cleaner goes there every 2 weeks. So she would have cleaned that place and she would have been able to tell us whether or not that cigarette end was there or not. And you'd think she'd be doing a very thorough job. I mean, Frank sounds like a very wealthy man. So yeah, that was another crucial part of evidence. And of course, the cushions were out of place. The cushions were used as a way to kill Frank. The pills were scattered there as a decoy. And you may have noticed there was a very, very small discrepancy in the note that Frank had left behind. He called Veronica his sweetheart, whereas on the picture, he referred to her as my darling Veronica. So obviously he's got like little pet names with his wife, and the person that's written the note has got it wrong. So that note was staged. If you got all that, then well done. And there are a few kind of red herrings in there as well. Let's hear the confession, shall we, from the grandson?
Yeah, no point fighting it now. I went in through the trash cupboard, knew about it for years, service access, just a tight climb through, and hey presto, I was in. He was inside when I came through, sitting there like he owned the world, like I was already out of it. Told me straight, said I was finished. Said by morning my name wouldn't mean a thing. We argued, loud enough I thought someone might hear. But up there, nobody listens. Then he turned his back on me, like I wasn't worth finishing the sentence. That's when I saw the cushion. I didn't plan it like that, not exactly. But once my hands were on it, there wasn't much thinking left to do. He fought, not for long. I knew what it had to look like. I scattered the pills by his hand, took one of his pens, wrote the note, kept it simple. People believe simple when they want to, made it look like he gave up. I even sat down after, lit a cigarette, needed something to steady my hands, didn't realize I'd left it behind. Then I climbed back out the way I came, through the cupboard, left the door locked, everything sealed up neat, like nothing had touched him but his own mistakes. It was supposed to look clean, like he did it to himself. Guess I missed a spot.
You certainly did miss a spot, grandson. You certainly did. Well done to everyone then, if you got some of that evidence. I really hoped that you enjoyed this special episode of The Evidence Trail, where I let you be the detective. It's very, very tricky, isn't it, to have a one-way conversation with you at home. But I hope that this has been a really kind of engaging and interactive experience for you. If you do have any suggestions on cases like this or ways that I can improve these episodes, then please do get in touch. I'm on social media at Evidence Trail. And yeah, I'd love to hear what you thought of this episode. I've tried to be really creative and think about a time where we didn't have forensic evidence and cases like this would just go unsolved. So it's really kind of credit to how all the scientists throughout the world have come up with these solutions to problems to basically help bring people to justice. Anyway, thank you so much for listening and for playing along. And yeah, tell your friends about this if you enjoyed it, because yeah, the more people that play along, the better really. And perhaps you can have some kind of murder mystery parties where you all listen to this as well. So thanks a lot. Catch you soon.
The night folds over the city like a trench coat collar turned up against the rain. And somewhere in the dark, the truth is still smoldering like the last cigarette in an ashtray. If you want to keep riding shotgun with us, subscribe to The Evidence Trail wherever you get your podcasts. And when the mic goes silent, find us at Evidence Trail on social media. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and remember, in forensics, the smallest detail can be the loudest witness. And if you're a crook walking the evidence trail, watch where you step.